Back in this, although they took a little bit of time to close it out, but a lot happened in the early game. The Z pick for Bjergsen, really good, and we're actually going to bring the replay up immediately because we feel like everything kind of cascaded off of that. Let's get the replay up on the screen. The 1v1, Maple versus Zed, is going to come up in a second.
That's right. When you have a one-on-one assassin on an assassin, the first one to get the kill is going to snowball out of control, and Maple throughout the game showed prowess in the champion, but in this 1v1, he starts off before this, you don't see it in the clip, he had to use his initial distortion, so he's down a cooldown, forced to use it right after using the Mimic. That's why he was able to open up with that, and he gets a chunk, he gets a nice chain, but you don't have all your cooldowns. Stop committing to it, get the poke, you have the blue buff, you have the codex, commits to it, and Bjergsen, he's one to capitalize on the one-on-one, snowballs that, and from that he creates a big CS lead and no longer can be 1v1 and can't be held back, and that was the story of the game. He was really good on LeBlanc, but the Zed 1v1 was just too strong.
Yeah, it really was, and I think Monty actually said it best during the course of the game that the way these two team comps stacked up, it was fairly similar types of champions in, opposite roles. So once a team got an advantage, it was going to be relatively easy to hold on to that advantage. It was not a pretty game because of how long it dragged out. Because of the fact that these team comps are based around finding picks and getting kills, it took so long to get the objectives down. 5 dragons, 2 barons, what was it, 46 minutes on the clock. Yep. So it dragged out. TSM hit this like skyrocket and then just flattened for a long time.
Yeah, and well, they dragged it out. That means that TSM isn't able to choose the side for the next game as they went a little bit longer, and the Flash Wolves have indeed selected the blue side in the next one. Zed, Lulu, those are all things to think about in their draft phase.
So 2 things really quickly. Red side has won both of the games thus far this series for the superstitious lady at the table. Secondly, Zed has to be a consideration. Yep. Bjergsen has just gone off on it, whether it's an early pick or an early ban for Maple. And I also think you need to get Lustboy off that Lulu. He had a 9 KDA yesterday, went 2-3-26. He went 0-0-18 this game in a game that had 20 kills. 80% kill participation, 90% kill participation. It is by far his strongest performing champion at the World Championship.
Lulu Lustboy.
I was actually really impressed with Maple's LeBlanc this entire game, but except with that laning phase blunder, and I don't think that perhaps, you might be thinking that they're going to highly prioritize Zed, which is a completely valid strategy, but at the same time, don't make that same mistake in the early game, and if he was able to make those plays that he was chunking everybody left, right, and center, he will be, you're going to win that game because they couldn't close on a 17K gold lead. Now, come on, TSM, we've done that against CJ. You can do it here.
Yeah, final thoughts, maybe, Doa, if what we've seen here from TSM, even if they're on the red side, maybe at a little bit of a disadvantage in picks and bans, not the first pick. Do you feel like they've gone here and are going to go all the way?
Well, it's going to be a little bit tougher, but I think what we've seen from TSM all tournament long is that they kind of live and die by the decisions they're making in-game, right? I mean, if they can make the picks, if they can make good decisions about when to go into the enemy jungle and things like that, they can succeed. So will they be able to do it? We've seen one game no, we've seen one game yes. I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens in the next one.
We'll have to wait and see, indeed. If you missed any of the games here over the past couple of days, head over to youtube.com/ESL to check those out. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be back with the deciding game in the semifinal between TSM and Yowie Flash Wolves right after this.